Okay guys, today we're going to be talking about assembly for the new repeat Antway Hubmotor beater bar. You can see all the parts that we have here. We have two screwdrivers, one for an M3, one for an M4. We have the mounting washers, a Hubmotor magnet ring, a Hubmotor stator, the Ant Hub beater hardware kit, and the actual beater bar, as well as a little bit of sandpaper and some Loctite. So we're gonna unbox all of this stuff and then get back. Okay, we're back. We've unboxed everything. Let me just walk you through. We have your shaft, your grade 5 titanium shaft. We have 2 bolts to go into the ends of the shaft. We have 2 motor mounting lengths. We have a 12mm and a 10mm screw. That's just depending on your upright sizes. And then over here we have both of the bearings for the Hubmotor beater. We have a bearing shim, and then we have 5 shims over here for the other side. So that you can get the correct shaft or the correct stack compression. First thing that we need to note is the fit between the bearing and the shaft is a little bit tight. So you can see it doesn't slide on there very easily. So what we're going to do is we're going to take some sandpaper and we're just going to stick it in there, twist it back and forth until it goes on there, and you can stick it in, about that far down the shaft. So it might take a little bit of prep, potentially putting this in a drill to get that, but first step is to sand that down a little bit. Moving on, we're now going to install the magnet ring. So you'll see the magnet ring has this aluminum ring at the top. That's going to go down, pointing down when you install into the motor or into the beater. We also want to put a little bit of Loctite. I'm using green Loctite. You could also use super glue if you want, but that's just to make sure that the fit is nice and tight so that these magnet rings don't slip during combat. So I'm going to spread that around a little bit, and then we're just going to press that guy in. I have this little press adapter if you need so. You do want to make sure that it gets pressed all the way in. You can kind of see, I guess I don't know if you can see. Yeah, you can kind of see this isn't all the way in. So we're going to give that a little bit more of a press. Okay, next we're going to start working to put the stator onto this frame. So the first thing we need to do is add the bearing to the stator. You can kind of just drop it down there, and then it slides right on. And then you can add this shim as well, and that'll sit right here or so on that green part. And this guy is good for a second. I am going to use the 12mm screws because my frame is a little bit on the thicker side. If your frame is closer to 6mm, you should look at the 10mm screws. Just look and push a screw all the way through and just see how far out it extrudes. You want it to go maybe 1 to 3mm out. So you can use that to choose which size screw you want. I'm going to take this shaft and the side that the bearing fits onto and push the other side into the upright. There we go. And then we can start putting this hub motor on. So the hub motor goes on, and then these wires have to slide through the slot in the frame. So I'm just going to run all 3 of them through there together, pull them out from the bottom. You see that? We're going to line you up, push the stator through. Okay, and then we should be able to go ahead and tighten these screws. So we just want to make sure that they are going into the stator and that you get them nice and finger tight. And this is just the preliminary assembly. If you were doing a final assembly before a fight, you would probably want to add blue Loctite to these screws to ensure they don't vibrate out. We'll then go ahead and put one of these shaft screws on right here. That'll just hold the shaft in place. Again, you want to Loctite those screws to make sure they don't come out. Now you have a whole stator assembly on here. Your next bet or your next plan is to drop the hub motor on it. Be careful, the magnet ring will kind of snap it into place. You just don't want it scratching on anything too much. Okay, the hub motor fits in there, and then we're going to go ahead and put this other bearing in. Slide that down. Okay, now the hub motor should sit on here and spin nice and freely. So we're going to go add 1 or 2 shims. I would recommend starting with a couple shims, and then, you know, if you tighten the whole assembly together, and it starts binding at the end, then you're going to want to reduce the number of shims you have. So we're going to add this top piece on, and I guess if I'm pushing down on it, you can see this is a little proud of the surface. So I'm actually going to pull that out and drop 1 more shim on. Drop you in again. Now you feel pretty flush. We're going to get that last washer in place and drop that screw on. Oh. And again, if I was doing this for an event, I would tighten it down with Loctite. And then there we go. Hub motor beater is ready to go. Then you would just drop this onto your robot, solder it up, and away you go.